Hello, everyone. I know it's been a long time since I've made a video. Um, Trying a quickie, unscripted thing here. We'll see how it goes. But this is me channeling a little bit of the good old new atheist zeal. I've been reading a lot of different articles lately and looking at arguments for and against miracles. And I've been taken aback by some fairly new theistic philosophers, or philosophers who recently became theists, talking about, oh, we should be more credulous of miracle claims. And look at these miracle claims. If somebody regrew a leg back and claims it was back in France like a couple hundred years ago, and it's basically all just testimony evidence. And and the kind of the argument seems to be like modern day. We just kind of pshaw this stuff away like a almost embarrassed glance, like this seems silly and we shouldn't be doing that if we're going to be serious. And I'm like, I'm sorry, no, I do think miracle claims are ridiculous, uh, and we have very good reason to just dismiss them out of hand, given the wide amount of miracle claims there are from contradictory religions that are better or well attested than each other. But they're always, always, always boils down to just testimony as something to accept that basically violated the laws of nature or something that happened that wasn't supposed to happen, right? That's what makes it a miracle. And I had a good example as to why naturalists or just people in general, even theists, most theists reject most miracle claims. But I wanted to kind of pull something back to way back when I was a kid and actually watched The Simpsons and cared. A little bit of a scene, and let's just relate things here through.
Good Lord, what is happening in there?
Aurora Borealis?
Uh, Aurora Borealis. At this time of year, at this time of day, in this part of the country, localized entirely within your kitchen.
Yes.
May I see it?
No.
All right, so you could see there in the scene how ridiculous it is to claim that there was an aurora borealis given all these conditions in one spot, and then we're like, okay, he even considers, well, maybe he's telling the truth, and then asks to see it, and then of course the answer is no. It's always seems to be the case with that, with miracles. You don't ever really get to experience something that is an empirically verifiable miracle, right? So I've talked about this a lot on my channel before, but the sort of thing that if you were alive in Jesus' day and you happen to see him and have him preached and watch him crucified, and then a couple days later he shows up and he starts preaching, well, that would be an empirically verifiable miracle. If I could watch him do all of these different things that he supposedly did, that would be a great way for me to be convinced that, say, Jesus was a prophet of God of some sort, right? Now, theists and Christian apologists especially like to say, well, how could atheists explain all this wealth of testimonial evidence? Which is really, let's be clear, the evidence we have for the resurrection of Jesus is five guys. Five. The four pseudonymous gospels, and Paul, who didn't even witness the resurrection, he supposedly had a vision of Jesus and then recounts a creedal style thing or saying, or at least some kind of church doctrine that is early. That's the earliest account we have. So it's literally five people. Five live people try to tell you something incredible happened today. I don't think you'd believe them, right? If somebody they told you somebody raised from the dead or grew a leg back or something along those lines, we're not buying it today. And so the thing that way I explain the evidence of the stories in the Bible is that some people had some kind of an experience, and then the stories grew in the telling in the many years between when the oral tradition happened and the first Gospels were written, which can be anywhere from at least a decade at the most conservative, ridiculously early dates to a couple of decades, 30, 40 years at least for the Gospels, and 15 to 20 years, I think, for First Corinthians. I can't remember the exact bit, but regardless, it's a long time. Um, and you go, well, how many, they go, oh, well, how many people, so many people converted, so many people claimed that this miracle happened. And it's like, well, I'd like to point your attention to something that really kind of brought this home for me. And this is a scene out of a St. Clair Catholic Church in Kasanari, Kenya. I'm going to play the video. And what the person here is claiming, a little lower, the person, the account here is claiming, is that the Blessed Virgin Mary appeared today after evening mass. Okay, And I'm going to let this whole scene play out kind of in the background while I'm talking. It's not really anything to hear besides singing. But as you can clearly see in the video, there's some light refracting from a window. But if you can hear from the crowd, let's just bung it up. There's a decent amount of people in this crowd, right? Guesstimate, I would say at least two, 3 dozen, could possibly be much more, right? But let's say 30, 40 people. The report of the miracle is that the Virgin Mary appeared in the chapel. How many of those people would testify that they saw the Virgin Mary appear in their church? Given the reaction of the crowd and the screaming and the happiness, and eventually you'll see in the video people start holding up cell phones, including the priests, to record what is some freaking light refracting from a window on the wall, but are claiming that Mary appeared. And how many of them would say this? And how many of them afterwards in an account, when you would interview them, especially if they kept getting asked about this, would see the story grow in the telling? Um, you know, And so all you need for a kind of miracle like this to happen, and this includes things like Fatma or what is the stupid Catholic miracle where the sun stood still? I can't even remember, right? But these sorts of things where it's just like, oh, you can't possibly explain it. Well, no, because maybe it was just something stupid along these lines. People thought they saw something, and it really just ended up being something stupid and mundane. But because we don't have this kind of video evidence, it's just taken as is and oh, but you have to believe. And I think the fact that so many different miracles are claimed across so many different religions, and it's always just testimony, never empirically verifiable. And so, like, let's say at a Catholic mass like this, if the priest could say a prayer and the water in a cup would turn into wine in front of everybody's eyes, that would be an empirically verifiable miracle. Easy as day. Not a problem for God to do it. But just like Principal Skinner in the Simpsons episode, can I see it? No. Some people do, apparently, supposedly, if the Christians are to be believed. Some people did get privileged epistemic access to the truth of certain miracle claims. Thomas would be the penultimate example, but others don't. And this ultimately is why I think us folks in the modern day are very well justified in dismissing out of hand testimonial claims of miracles happening. So, thanks for watching.